Thank you. Long before the nation became independent, good neighborliness had been an integral part of the fabric of the Nigerian life. So good was it that society as a whole was a good place for everyone to live, children to develop in, and everyone was, so to say, his brother's keeper. The Jos society typified the larger macrocosm where there were no divides, neither tribal, religious, ethnic, or even the expatriate community was well represented because of the peace of dwelling together and in harmony and, of course, the weather. There were no fences except for the flower hedges, which demarcated houses. Friendships were made across religion, ethnic, and even political divides. Recently, the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, in a post on his Facebook page, attested to this, and he actually said, "Bring back my old Jos." He attributed that the Jos that we know today does not represent the Jos in which we grew up in or lived in or worked in. I, for example, was born in Jos. The picture of peace has, however, given way, as it is today, to the present-day acrimony, strife, killings, which has characterized our society, again typified by the Jos experience, where a lot of elder statesmen and women grew up. Now, what went wrong? How did we get to where we are today? We are gurning for neighbors, now seem to be the current trend. In the studio, I have, luckily, destabilized Nigerians who are on this round table to speak to this development aimed at bridging a huge gap and rending the fabric of our society today. Welcome to Bridges. I am Mujima Konjola. On my extreme right is an old girl from my school, and actually I would say born and bred in Jos, as it were. Today she lectures at the Nasarawa State University. I present Lantana Ahmed. And for those of you who saw NTA in those days, you remember Kokra Dawn. She was Afi, Uncle Becky's wife. You're welcome, little Lantana. And next to her is also a veteran who, outside his many titles, he's passionate about the fabric of Nigeria. We must get back to where we all were, that made things happen as a people, united, even in our diversity. Let me again welcome Ambassador Njoku on Bridges. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Muji.
Next, I have with us one whom probably would have witnessed some of these insurgencies in terms of the seeming killing that we do, wanton killing, useless killing, as some people would like to call it. Emmanuel Ejoko, former Commissioner of Police, he's today a security expert, also a media expert, by the way. But I like this one. He offers psychological services. That's right. Thank you very much, and we need that. So you're all welcome on Bridges, and together let's attempt to build a sustainable bridge of peace. Now, should I say Senior Lantana? That's what I call her, and it just comes to mind. Yes.
I'm just Lantana.
Now, what happened?
That is the question.
This is not our Jos.
No. Everybody has been asking that question, what happened, what happened? And I don't think anybody has been able to give an answer. We don't know when we went to so far that we derailed to such wanton killing, and looking at our neighbors and taking the knife or the sword or whatever against each other. I cannot fathom it, and I cannot talk about it because I really don't know. It pains when one talks about it, you know, because we've lost friends, relations, and everybody on both sides, or whichever divide. They have a divide. I don't have a divide. Well, I'm a Josite, and that's it.
That's it. I like that. I don't have a divide. And I think that was what Yakubu the DG of NTA was trying to emphasize in his post. As we speak, the post has almost 1 million or more than 1 million, what they call now social impression on the media. Now, we're at 8. So let's face it, we have a situation at hand that we cannot pretend does not exist. What, I mean, okay, we can't fathom what about this, but we're there. So, what do? Ambassador Njoko? You crisscrossed this country.
Yes, and
at some point in your life. How was it?
It's a bit emotionally painful for me because Jos 2 was my home. I started my university life in Jos in 1973. As a young boy, I left home, took the train, went to Jos. Nobody accompanied me, in the full belief and hope that I was going to another part of my country where I would be at home. And I really was at home. I enjoyed, you don't know what I enjoyed most in Jos? The harmattan?
No. The weather.
Cold, nice weather. It was a microcosm of a cosmopolitan perfect mix of all peoples of Nigeria.
It was a global mix.
I don't know whether you remember the Bomosho taxi drivers.
Yes, everywhere.
Who dominated driving there. And I mean, it was a perfect life. To me, it was idyllic. To think that idealism has been destroyed, it's like, permit me to say, the fall of man in the Garden of Eden. A perfect place, peaceful place God created and gave you. You destroyed it and offended God. And as Shakespeare says, the nearer in blood, the nearer bloody. The more blood we shed, the more used we are getting to shedding blood. When this massive bloodshedding started in 1980 with Metasina and all that, we thought it would just go away.
It wasn't Nigerian.
You know, little by little, we now acquired it as a culture. In fact, I pity the children who are growing up now, because they are growing up in a culture of mass killing, mass graves, mass burials, and we are getting thick-skinned. So much so that you open the pages of newspapers, when you hear 5 people killed, you feel that's not enough to engage your reading attention. You go to where 100 were killed, 200 were killed,
and
unfortunately,
it's worse on the social
we are absorbing it.
Yes.
We are accepting it. We are getting used to seeing butchered bodies. And so our civilization is declining. So for me, Jos is the symbolism of the present Nigeria, where people who used to live in absolute peace now are at daggers drawn and are butchering themselves.
So why would we do that to ourselves?
Well, let me borrow a leaf from what my elder said, you know. In the 80s, I dreamt of going to Jos.
You see?
And by 82 or so, when I was a major tourist in this country, Jos was my first port of call. And what I saw in Jos was as if God doesn't sleep, as if God woke up in the morning on Monday and created Jos with all the finesse, all the beauty. You could see the work of a master craftsman, rock upon rock.
Oh, yes.
Level ground.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Temperate climate. And people, dark complexion people like me, happy living together. But then again, when I went on course, I later trained in the police staff college in Jos in 1985. But next time I went to Jos for another course, the kind of violence I witnessed benumbed me. Saw young men and women being slaughtered. Saw corpses piled along the streets. And people didn't really care because they got so used to it.
That's where we're going. People get used. How can you get used to these senseless killing? What exactly? We know that now we have identified that we have a problem there. Let's start building the block of peace. what exactly are we not doing right? You know, each time because for me, I was born in Jos, so I've always looked forward to living in Jos when I don't have to answer to any master. That's going to be my resting place, because I love plants, I love the environment, the ambience. But you have to think twice now before you go to Jos. So now how do we start? What exactly, what did we lose that we have to start picking the pieces?
Really, I cannot say, I don't even know where we'll start. But just like you said, I was feeling I was going to retire to Jos, because anytime I was coming to Jos, I feel I'm home. I just feel that's my home. I don't feel any other part of Nigeria as home but Jos. And we find that I had started building in Jos, and I had to abandon it when the crisis came up. Now we have places where you call, one side is the Muslims living there, the Christians living another side. I mean, it's unbelievable. I grew up with every ethnic group in Nigeria. We were sleeping in each other's homes, we were eating each other's food, and we go to school, the same schools. Even I, that being a Muslim, I was in a Islamic school, my father didn't just like it that I wasn't learning very well. So he took me to St. Teresa's in Jos, and that's it, a Catholic school. And so, where do we, I mean, the question is so difficult. What can we do? Where do we start? Is it reorientation? Is it campaigns? What is it that we can do to bring back our Jos? I have to ask that question.
Yes, bring back our Jos.
Yes.
Ask the question.
Yes.
Now let's start. Yes, let's talk to our men. What is it?
Well, I think, let me also commend divine providence that we are all Josites here. Everybody has a story
to tell
about his or her Jos experience. And that shows how wonderful the place was as a place of welcome. But I think something wrong is happening to the entire nation. I have told you in the past about my theory of minimalism, that when man abandons his human positive gifts and just takes the negative ones and combines with his animal nature and instincts, he becomes a manimal. That manimal is more dangerous than a man, more dangerous than an animal. Because you know the Jos Zoo. Everybody here knows Jos Zoo.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
If a lion escapes from Jos Zoo, it wouldn't kill the entire town before going back to its zoo. Because even the animal has his way of controlling himself. Now, I think there's a general tendency, because of loss of values, because of the struggle for resources that we don't help to build collectively. People are idle. All they're thinking of is how to outdo the other person and grab resources, and they feel that the ultimate thing they have to do is to eliminate that person. So since we adopted this monoculture economy of sharing money at the end of the month, our collective morality has been, unfortunately, going down, sinking lower and lower. You may recall that during the last FAC meeting, they couldn't even sit. I mean, it's gone to that extent. Commissioners came for the normal sharing and then left in disarray. Now, if as a national psyche we are adopting dissent all the time, no concord, it leads into violence, conflict. And our conflict resolution capacity is very low in this country, unfortunately. Whenever anything happens, we rather retaliate instead of understand what is wrong with this other party and bring them near. You were asking about what we should do. We should try to educate people about the nature of conflict. We should let people know that difference is natural, is divine. That's why God created Lantana, a woman, created me, a man, created Moji, a woman, created Ima, a man. God is not stupid. Then what we should know is that I am wired differently from Lantana. And so when she behaves the way she behaves to show her own difference, I should understand her. I should accommodate her. There's another word we use in Nigeria, which I always complain. They say tolerance, religious tolerance. It is not tolerance that we should be doing. It's accommodation. You tolerate what you don't like. Accommodate it, create space for it. That's what we should do.
And love it.
Yes, love it.
And because you see, when you tolerate, it doesn't matter how it comes.
You know?
But the thing is, I mean, I grew up, you remember those days at Christmas. Everybody danced, I'm sure, yes, we all danced on Juju Kalaba.
Yes.
Those days. And at Salah, you all dressed up because you wanted to take some part of the meat.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So what has happened to that? The diversity that made us, that made us so strong is now it is used as a divide. Going forward, what should we be preaching? Because everywhere you go, it's religious intolerance or tribal intolerance. Well, when did it start?
Yes, I think part of the way forward, part of our national ethics mentioned integrity. A person of integrity is a forthright person. If you hurt him, he told you. If you hurt you, he apologized. People have been hurting without letting it out. I talk as a psychologist now. They bottle up grievances. They nurse hearts. And it gets to a level like a bottled wine. It gets to a level that it has to explode. I also think that sorry is a very cheap but costly word. If somebody says sorry, it is cheap. It is cheap. And it can come easily. If it comes from the heart, the other person should forgive. But where it becomes costly is when it is not said. And somebody is not saying, look, you are doing this thing with impunity as if you have immunity for impunity. As if I can do nothing. One day I wait for an opportunity to tell you of a truth. I can do something. I think we need to apologize to each other where we wronged ourselves. That's why I doff my heart for the president when he recently apologized on behalf of you and I, on behalf of the nation, for the injustice meted out to the family of late Mko Abiola. That sorry went a long way.
Sure did.
And any sorry said to anybody who is feeling hurt, we mellow any temper and prepare ground for reconciliation and for moving forward.
So we all, as a people and as institutions that are there, have a responsibility to restore us back to where we are. Because sometimes, even our religions are sometimes held as culprit to to escalating situations sometimes. I wonder what your thoughts are on this and what's our message in building the bridge using our religious leaders.
Okay, like to build bridges, first of all, a lot of people use the people for their selfish ends. One, generally our imams and pastors do not tell us the truth. I'm sorry to say that, but it's the truth that what they are supposed to lead, to give examples of what actually is in the Quran and in the Bible, is not what they do. They try to bring out young people that are trained in such a way that they hate each other, they hate
radicalized
so much. So if we start from religion, we can go a long way. And then, but we must get them to do the right thing. We cannot continue listening to very hurtful words being hurled at each other, and we all say we are worshiping one God. Therefore, we have to start with our religious leaders on both sides and our politicians, if we have to, because most of them are they are reaping where they didn't sow, and they are reaping more of what is going on, because the more disharmony there is in the country, the better for them. as far as I'm concerned, because they sometimes pay money. I cannot maybe pay money for to these youths to be able to just cause this harmony, and they reap out of it, because that's, if not so, it should have been better. You know, Nigeria needs to wake up and let us talk to each other.
We need to start talking to each other. Yes, we're not talking enough, are we?
No, we're not talking enough. We also need national self-healing. We need to purge ourselves of these emotions, of these negative emotions, by telling ourselves the truth. And taking from what she said, the imams and the priests and pastors and so on and so on, I think we should start taking part of the responsibility of them by educating people well, so that people judge for themselves and people don't go and do wrong things and say, because my pastor told me, because my imam sent me. People should be able to reason, and that will depend on the content of education we are giving to children that make them grow up to know, just like you were talking about when you were growing up in school. You loved her. She was Muslim in a Catholic school. They loved her, and nobody said, the priest told me not to, because you received good quality education. So I think we need this education to be, we need to look at the curriculum, very, very important, because I've been in that sector. We need to see what is being taught, so that the children can grow up being people of their own minds, not people who make up their mind on Sundays or on Fridays after they leave the mosque. You know, you understand what I mean? People who make up their mind daily as they wake up as human beings and know what is right and wrong. And let me say, once you are a negative, violent person, even if you get rid of all the other tribes, you will still be violent inside your own family. And so this is another emotion I say we should purge, because if we run a country of one tribe and there is politics in it, somebody must become president from among all those people in that tribe. And if we are used to killing to become whatever, you will still kill those of your tribe and your family.
Yeah, let's look at it from the psychological point. As I can see that our time is running out, but we're saying that we need to heal. We need to speak to people. We need to bring ourselves together. But those that are affected, we can't run away from it, because if you see somebody from other tribe trying to kill, you know, there are people that would just live with this image. What exactly should we be doing to people like that, so that there will be no reprisal, because sometimes you get reprisal from some of these killings?
Yes, first is to admit that there has been an error, there's a mistake. That the killings were not just incidental. Somebody planned these killings and killed the fellow human being. We need, as a nation, to begin to value lives afresh. Place values on human beings. That the loss of one Nigerian is a minus to the entire nation. Not a tribe, not an ethnic group, not a religious group, but Nigeria as a whole lost one. And one is too much to lose.
To lose, just like America does. And I think that it has become imperative that all of us together, everyone, irrespective of your religion, your age, whatever, your status in the society, you still owe it to this country, because the only country we have.
That's it.
That together we would stop this wanton killing.
That's right.
And people should report in good time. I'm sure that the security forces are, gathering intelligence. People should not be afraid of coming out to say, this, I suspect this. An investigation, thorough investigation should go on, and for us to, because it's so mind-boggling to think that my Jos,
Our Jos.
Our Jos,
Our Nigeria too.
our Nigeria too.
Yes.
Some evil forces want to turn it into a slaughter slab. It will not be so.
It will not prosper.
Yes. So as we round up this edition of Bridges, I want to read from some of the posts that Yakubu sent to his Facebook, which actually got to me, and I'll just quote from the Director General of NTA. He says, "I want you back. I need you back. many like me do. I'm sure we do that too.
Yes.
To get you and just back. We need to be positive. We cannot and must not allow you to become a scrambled page in the book called Nigeria. We must make you not in the likeness of the destructive elements in the wishes they want for you, but in your original image of love, beauty, and peace. We must together not allow the forces of darkness have their way or their say. I think we all concur to this.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. But Nigeria should also not be allowed to become a scrambled page in the book called The World.
That is right.
I think
That's
that, yes,
correct.
I think that what we have done today is reminded ourselves of the need that together we can do it.
Yes.
If over the years, I'm still in love with Jos, and my prayer is that we can still go back to Jos, and that you can finish that building.
Oh,
And together we can build a sustainable bridge of peace, which is needed to grow the economy, to grow every improvement that we dream of.
right.
And until, of course, we do that, my prayer is, like many people have prayed, that we won't have a Rwanda happening in Nigeria.
Amen.
Amen.
Let just
Thank you all for coming
Thank
on Bridges, and thank you, Auntie Lantana, Lantana, for coming all the way from Kefi to be with us here.
Yes.
Ambassador Njoko, thank you for your
Always
time,
around,
always.
yes.
And Emmanuel Ojuku, I cannot forget the name Ojuku.
Yes.
Thank you so very much for being part of this.
Let just return.
Let Jos return. Give me back
my Jos.
Jos.
Or
Give
our
us
Jos.
back our
Our
Jos. Thanks for watching. We'll be back again next week on Bridges.